I don't think they want him there. I think they...
Man, I don't disagree with her, you know. Welcome to CFC Fan TV. It's been a while, guys, and I have missed you. Thank you all so much for the nice wishes that you gave me because, as I'm sure some of you know, I became a dad. Check this out. That's right, I left the channel in the capable hands of Miss Sophie Rose, and she dropped a video that got quite an interesting reception. I'm going to have a look at it.
Hello everyone and welcome to CFC Fan TV. For those of you who don't like it, I'm really sorry, but I'm giving you my opinion. It might only be 1-4-0 defeat, but I just see that as completely unacceptable. I feel bad for the fans that travelled all that way and stood in the freezing cold for however long. And I think our performances just over the last couple of months have been terrible, boring, uninspiring. They show a lack of motivation. They show a lack of determination in the squad. And yeah, so this video has to be done. This is my opinion, my personal preference. If you disagree, I'm all up for hearing it, and please comment below. And of course, follow us on Patreon as well. There'll be some extra stuff on there this week.
Okay, so far I agree with Sophie. She said that the 4-0 was a disgrace, and she says that she feels sorry for all the fans that went down there. Can't disagree with that. She said that some of the passing has been sloppy, and she said that some of it has been a little bit boring. And I think that, generally speaking, I'm on board. I have a feeling things are about to change.
Point one, and a very important point for me, and it has become over, like I say, the last couple of months, I would say moving Kante out of position. Now, I know Jorginho is incredibly important to his system. I still think that
Okay, the Kante out of position thing, I knew that was going to be coming. I don't think that it's quite the travesty that Sophie thinks it is. So on this one, Soph, I think I'm going to disagree. I think that Kante playing further forward is working. I think his eye for a goal is good, and it was a beautiful little flicked assist for Higuain's opener the other day. So I think moving him out does work, and I think to accommodate this system, which we now have to commit to, you do need Jorginho pulling the strings. So, interesting on Kante. I do think that there's something slightly not right about it. I don't think it always works, and also I think that when you've got the best defensive midfielder in the world in your ranks, perhaps you should play him there. But to use that as a reason to sack him, little touch harsh, perhaps. We continue. We've just gone to an advert.
Invest your spare change. Here's how
What an annoying place to put an advert, Sammy.
whether or not your system involves him or not, if you're going to put him on the pitch, he needs to be playing as a defensive midfielder. That is his job. That is his role. That's why we bought him. He to me, you could see the difference when Kante came from Leicester to Chelsea. You could see how much we improved, and you could see how much they deteriorated, and that was because, well, not deteriorated, but you know, they fell down in the league, and that was because they didn't have that stability in the midfield anymore. And he was, I think, while everyone credits Jamie Vardy and
Right, Kante definitely was instrumental to Leicester, and he did play a pivotal part in that title campaign. He played a different role though, and I think that Kante is a good enough player to play in a different role. Is Sophie wrong to suggest that perhaps he should play in his rightful position? I don't think she is. I think that he's doing very well further forward, but I think that his best position and his most effective position is as a defensive midfielder. So moving him forward isn't something I necessarily agree with, but to suggest that it's one of the reasons to sack him, harsh, Cosmas. Very, very harsh.
Point two is Eden Hazard. Now, I understand we had a major problem with our striker situation. You know, it's not all. This can't all be down to the manager. I think obviously that before he came in, you know, when the club signed Morata, they thought this is going to be our long-term investment. This is going to be our £70 million player who is going to be, you know, a takeover from Diego Costa, and you know, he's a different style of player, but he's going to get the goals. And you know, you don't spend that much money on a player unless you think, oh, he's in it for the long run.
Okay, Sophie's point two is playing Eden Hazard out of position. Now that does really frustrate me. Is it a justification to sack the manager? Probably not, but it is very annoying. But credit to Sarri, he's rectified it because he's gone out and signed Higuain, and Higuain looks the business. So I'm over the moon that we've signed him. Playing Eden Hazard out of position was annoying. I didn't enjoy it. I don't think it worked. There were occasions where it did, but generally speaking, I don't think it worked. And I think if we were going to play a different player through the middle as a false nine, for me, I think Pedro was a more natural suggestion. I think that he is an excellent finisher, and I don't think he's as good a winger as Hazard, and therefore we want to keep Hazard, our best player, arguably the league's best player, in his rightful position, rather than putting him up front where you haven't got a great striker and you lose his brilliance on the wing. So, again, Soph, I don't necessarily disagree with the point. I disagree with the conclusion.
I don't think what he's done with Hazard in the last couple of months has worked.
Hazard being played out of position. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I think it's a fair point, and I understand Sophie's frustration watching it.
Trying to keep Hazard.
Again,
I don't think it makes him want to stay at all. I think
perhaps
it just makes him even
slightly too much to suggest that it's a reason to sack the manager off the back of it. Another advert, Sammy. You put these in mad places.
Makes him even more frustrated because he wants to be playing in the Champions League. He wants to win Champions Leagues. We're not going to be doing that if the manager can't get the system right. So that's point 2, and it has to be a main issue for me.
Why? Okay, Sophie said that Sarri has lost the dressing room. This one, Sophie, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I don't know anything. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know why you think that. I haven't seen anything to suggest that that's the case. David Luiz came over to the fans and apologised for the performance against Bournemouth. The team looked very united in the win against Huddersfield. So on this one, this is the first time I'm actually going to passionately disagree with Miss Cosmas. Don't know where you're getting it from, unless you've got a mole somewhere, unless you've got some insider information, which I'm hearing she has.
I don't think they're playing for Sarri.
I don't think they want him there. I think whatever's going on, whether it's major or not, I think they're fed up with the results.
They don't like the system they're playing in, and whilst Sarri says it's a very hard team of players to motivate, there must be something they don't like, and at the end of the day, we've been through this before.
Are you going to...
Okay, that's an interesting point. Sophie there talking about the motivation of the team. Sophie is completely correct. Sarri saying that it's hard to motivate this group of players isn't an acceptable thing to hear from a manager. It's just not. This group of players are winners. 2 of them won the World Cup very recently. They don't need... 2 of them won the World Cup very recently. They're not a difficult group of players to motivate. They are natural-born winners. They've all won so many trophies. To say that it's awkward to motivate them isn't acceptable. It isn't what I want to be hearing. And I think Sarri got that one wrong. Sophie's point stands.
Point 4 is a point that I didn't want to make, but I suppose it has to be reiterated.
Point 4 is a point I didn't want to make, but I'm going to make it anyway. This is going to be brilliant. I hope this is going to be gold, isn't it?
That he doesn't have any proven track record of winning trophies now.
Talking about Sarri's record, and she's talking about Sarri's record of winning trophies. I think it's a fair point, very valid. Let's hear what she has to say.
I didn't mind that when he first came, because I think if you've got proven tactics and you're coming up through the ranks, and as a manager or a player, whoever, I think that's that's fine. You've got to invest a little bit in it, but at the end of the day, if this was happening 3 years down the line, I probably would say we're going through a bad spell, we'll stick it out. But this is happening 6 months in, and I do think that is unfortunately.
Okay, interestingly here, I don't think Sophie's actually made the point particularly well, but I think the point that she's trying to make is Sarri hasn't won a trophy. He's 60 years old, he's been managing for decades, and he's never won any silverware. That is a cause for concern. I think it's a legitimate cause to flag. It's something that does trouble me, but it's also something I'm convinced is going to be rectified against Manchester City at Wembley this month. So I think that we can be a bit patient and give it a bit of time, but as a point of contention, I think it's perfectly valid.
There is no chance that we'll be able to go to a final in the League Cup and win that.
It's not going to happen.
Sammy, man, these adverts, where are you putting them?
And point 5, and probably my main point, is not just system but team selection. His team selection's all off, his substitutions are terrible, and I think the turning point for me, actually, he started off quite well in the first part of the season. Then
Point 5, and Sophie's most important point, is team selection. She thinks it's been all off. I think that's probably a harsh appraisal. It's not necessarily what I agree with. For me, I think Ross Barkley played too much football. I'm a big fan of Kovacic. I think there have been occasions where the selection hasn't been right. We've covered putting Eden Hazard as false 9. That's not something I've enjoyed at all. And I think Willian has played too much football. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi watching that has got to be thinking, what more can I do? So Sophie's point again, I think she's made pretty valid points. I think I've disagreed with 1.5. But each point that she's raised for concern is something that I thought has been fair. It's the conclusion that I perhaps don't agree with, but generally speaking, I think that most people would agree with the points she's raised. I just don't think that they'd agree with the conclusion.
So there you have it. Those are the 5 reasons I believe that Sarri should no longer be in charge of Chelsea FC. Comment below. I'm sorry if it's a harsh video.
Right, I've seen enough of that. I think I've made my feelings perfectly clear. I think Sophie's points were generally valid. I think her conclusions were slightly off. But generally speaking, it's very difficult to disagree with a lot of the things she said. Has Sarri made some bad decisions when it comes to team selection? Yes. Has it been frustrating watching Eden Hazard play as a false 9? Yes. Was the result against Bournemouth completely unacceptable? Yes. So therefore, I think Sophie's probably got it right. The conclusion was slightly off, but it will be very interesting to see what you guys think of this. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I've missed you. It's nice to be back, and I look forward to reading the comments. Don't kill me.
I don't think they want him there. I think